Yo, what up? It's your boy Owen JJ Stone, aka O Doctor. Welcome back to Iqmztech. It has arisen from the dead again. It might die. I mean, I see the layoffs that happen in the tech world. You see the layoffs that happen, and sometimes I lay myself off. But I've given myself a job. I've given my friend a job. You won't see him, but you'll hear him because he is floating in the atmosphere. Say what's up to the people, Ryan.
Hey everybody, this is Ryan Pearson, aka PC Gazer on Twitter. Good to be with you.
And see, I like that you say Twitter. The whole X thing, I could have a whole rant show about calling it X. It's just annoying.
Yeah, X is a person you don't want to talk to anymore. So I don't like using that name.
That the simplest thing that bothers me the most about that is that when you post something, I'm like, oh, you put it on Facebook, you put it on Twitter. When someone says X, right, or now it just says post, it doesn't say tweet. I'm like, well, where'd you post it? Instagram, TikTok, like Facebook, like, oh, it's on X or Twitter. And I'm like, okay, just say Twitter. Just say you tweeted out something and I'll know where it's at. Because that's the biggest thing about this whole X thing. Now it's like, oh, I posted it. Where did you post it, bro? I have no idea. But anyway, we'll be doing the standard reading tech news and talking about stuff. Maybe we'll find a little AI corner where we're telling you some new fun stuff that's going on in the AI world with the tools that you could use to have global domination. We're going to figure it out. This is our first test run episode. We're both sick. I'm starting to get the flu that I got from my daughter. Ryan's over there dealing with a cold, but we are troopers and we're running our own ship. So if we quit in the middle of it, you'll never know. We'll just trash this and start all over again next week. So anyway, what's the first story you got on deck, Ryan?
All right, first story up. We're going to go right into the layoffs. Microsoft has laid off 1,900 people from its Activision, Blizzard, and Xbox divisions. That is roughly 8% of the overall Microsoft gaming division that stands at around 22,000 employees in total. And according to an internal memo, it's been 3 months since they bought Activision Blizzard, so it's high time we start cutting jobs. Essentially. And that's just tragic for the folks that were working on Blizzard's upcoming game that has now been canceled. And that game will never see the light of day. Yeah.
What game was that?
It's an unnamed game. But apparently it was supposed to be one of their biggest releases in the past decade. And unfortunately, it'll never happen. So we're stuck with the same Diablo, World of Warcraft, and Overwatch world that Blizzard has given us for the last 30 years now.
So
those 3 franchises.
So when I read that, right, I'm thinking to myself, one of two things. One, is there even really a game? How far along was this game in development? Was it a concept? Was it real? Was it something tangible? And then I think to myself, well, if it is real and it is tangible, why don't you want to make that money with something new? Or you're just laying off people to what? Have the profit boost for the market cap? Because all the financials are coming out the first quarter and everybody's worried about that and they want to show to their investors. Why don't you show the people what they want? Give the people what they want. Nobody likes layoffs. You're saving money for what? So your CEO can get a better bonus. We're going to talk about this a lot because everybody's getting laid off everywhere. But the greed of it all is just so sickening because it's all about the stocks and the market. And it's not about the people or the things that the people actually want. And if you gave them what they'd want, they'd buy it and you would make more money, right?
I agree. Yeah. It's kind of funny when you talk about making more money because Google itself spent $700 million just to lay 12,000 employees off. Now, could you imagine how many products, how many features they could have rolled out with that $700 million that is now just going to pay people to be in the unemployment line and try to find another job where they can contribute?
the worst part about that is when you're in the tech space, everyone's laying people off. Everyone's firing someone. So it's not like, oh, I can leave Blizzard and go get a job at Google. Well, Google doesn't want you because they're letting people off. Facebook, you know what I mean? Like the trickle down effect of everyone letting everyone off is this pool of usually smart people. I'm not going to say that every level and every layoff has a equal value to it, but you're laying these people off and you're paying all this money in severance where I feel like you've also grown 15% each quarter, 15% each year over year. So you're making profits. How it all again, I say is greed, and it comes down to it with the tech bubble. There was so much money being thrown at this market and this capital, but now that the stocks are down, there's no free money floating around. So everybody wants to be lean so they can show on their reports again for the stockholders. And I fully understand how capitalism works. I get how money works, but I also know that you don't need to do this. You don't need to fire all these people. If there's redundancies, I get it. Like if you're a mega corp like Microsoft and you bought Blizzard, which you shouldn't have been allowed to do, but they let you get away with it anyway. Yeah, there's going to be 2 HR people on certain levels. You want to get rid of one. I get it. But a lot of layoffs and stuff, you're letting people go and not giving any value back to the customer. Google has no excuse for this. I now pay for my Google that I got away with for free forever. And I don't even complain about it. You and I talked about it. I told you I'm paying whatever a month. And you were like, that sucks. I'm like, bro, I got it for free for over a decade. I can't complain when I got a head start using a product that I use every single day. And now they want to charge me X a month for it. I got to pay it because it's for business. And I understand that. Most people don't have a problem with that. Like, we understand you need to make money. But when I look at you year over year and you're up 15% every year, why are you laying people off? Oh, because you're using AI to replace certain people and certain things. And so you can get that work for free. And it's funny that the people that are making the things that are taking away other people's jobs, they might eventually lose their job because the thing that they're making might get smart enough to make itself. So, yay, Google. Yay, Blizzard. Yay, everybody losing their jobs. It's really, non-tech thing, Ryan, let me tell you something. This is how bad America is right now. UPS is about to lay off like 2,000, 1,200, whatever number it is. Their union fought so hard to get them a quote unquote fair wage, which everyone agreed that is fair. They're working them like dogs. And now, even though they're making record profits still, and these are profits that are being made after COVID, everybody needs to understand. So when they talk about this money that's being made, you're making this money over and over and over again after the record breaking of COVID. So you being up 50% year over year means that jump that you got of 40 or 50% from COVID is now 15% higher than that. So you're already ahead of the game by 100x. So UPS laying these guys off after they gave them their raises means, so you're going to cut the underlings because you can't cut the guys that are seniority, and you're going to work them even more like dogs. The reason they wanted the money is because you work these guys like dogs. It's just America's really screwed up right now. I'm not the only one that knows. Everybody knows it. Shrinkflation. You buy a candy bar, it's half an ounce, and you're still paying $2 for it. Your loaf of bread's lighter. It used to be 2 slices less. Everything is smaller. The price is going up, and it'll adjust itself. It'll fix itself. But the greed is just insane right now. What's the next story we got after my little rant there?
All right. Well, the next story we have up actually has to do with Taylor Swift. Big surprise there. She's all over the news. Apparently, on X, it went crazy when users were posting AI-generated nudes and sexually explicit photos of Taylor Swift. And what happens when Taylor Swift is in trouble? Congress actually decides to talk about passing a bill to protect people from non-consensual, explicit images created by AI. What do you think about this one, Owen?
I think that the conspiracy of America is upon us, brother. I think this is just a ploy to keep the Donald Trump AIs out of there. You know, they make those AI pictures with Donald Trump kissing a dog or like riding a frog or something like that. This is just circumventing that situation. So like when I watch the game and I see a referee kissing an NFL player, I know that's AI, but they don't want that. So now they've used Taylor Swift to make it all stop. under the guise of sexual assault. That's how crazy people sound when they talk about Taylor Swift right now. It's so
Oh,
insane.
there's some crazy conspiracy theories out there. People saying that the NFL is completely rigged just so that Taylor Swift can endorse a political candidate during the Super Bowl, the whole thing. It's crazy.
And she's not going to say anything political. And the thing she's done political is usually her choice and her right. But it's like the tan suit thing with the president. It's gone so much down a rabbit hole. It's insane. But back to the reality of the real thing. I'm annoyed at Taylor Swift's all over football and I have to hear about it and talk about it, even though she's only on the screen for 24 to 44 seconds. Everybody makes up their own number. It's annoying to me, but it's not annoying to me because of anything other than I just don't want to hear about it during football. And I want to watch the celebration dance instead of her celebrating. But when it comes to this AI stuff, this is gross. This is despicable. And the internet has gotten away with this for a long period of time. I'm not going to tell you I watch porn every day, but I've watched some porn and I've seen cartoon pop-ups of Marge Simpson doing stuff that I never thought I'd see Marge do, or I don't even know the mom's name. I don't watch it, but like they're usually like with cartoon stuff where they're just making these images and drawings and videos of them doing explicit things. And everybody thinks, oh, that's funny. Then you start bringing in, again, these deep fakes now. And when you're doing things that are sexual, if you're dealing with somebody like Taylor Swift, who has a large base of young female audience and young male audience, she has a lot of youth that are fans of hers, putting this kind of content out there that they can stumble along by accident because everything's open and searchable is disgusting and it's gross. And trying to capitalize off of that is really embarrassing because she is a person who values herself. No matter how you think of her, what you like, don't like or do like about her, she holds herself in a certain light in a certain way. She carries herself a certain way. And for her to be disrespected like this is not only gross, it's scary for anyone else. You know what I mean? Like if some of these things aren't like cartoonish. Some of these things are very real. AI has gotten very good very quickly at redesigning images. So, hey, you know what? I don't like your wife at my job. I'm going to make a cartoon or make an AI image of her and some lewd thing, make copies and throw it all over the office. Do you know how many people in that office might think, wow, that's really her doing this vile thing? That's what you need to think about. Or your daughter, your boyfriend breaks up with your daughter and he's mad and he goes and makes an AI image of her doing something, again, vile and disgusting, and then spreads it in his Snapchat to all his friends. And everybody thinks, oh, well, my daughter's out here riding unicorns. I'm just trying to make it into something a ridiculous light because I don't want to say anything that's disgusting or vile that someone would do. But they have to make a law like this. They have to, and it takes someone like Taylor Swift to make it be like, we got to get on it. So I'm not mad at this. I'm not mad at Congress is getting off their ass and trying to do something about this because it can get out of hand and snowball very quickly. Because the other thing that people don't think about, when it happens to Taylor Swift, everybody sees it. It lights up the mind for a lot of other people to try and copy it and do it themselves.
That's absolutely right. What's scary to me is the implications where like a high school student gets targeted for this type of AI generation. Like you mentioned earlier, what if it was your daughter, or your girlfriend, or what have you? And there are high schools right now that are dealing with this very problem, and it's not going to go away. The AI tools that are being used right now are largely open source.
Yes.
And to think that this is going to disappear just because you legislate is unfortunately unrealistic. And I think we have to figure out how to navigate this rather than outright ban every instance of AI as a result.
So I think that in reading this article and reading another article about it, I think that they're trying to implement something where you can have some kind of retaliation against that person or brand, whoever. So if you made a video about a dinosaur and that dinosaur's like, look, that's not real. I'm a real dinosaur. I could sue you. So that's the deterrent. Like you don't want to get sued for creating that content. So there's supposed to be filters in place with a lot of these sites where they don't let you make certain content, but obviously it's still an algorithm, it's still a computer, and you can trick it and you can get it to do whatever you want it to do because you just have to know how to talk to it. There's a key for every lock, and as long as you got the right key, you can make it happen. So it seems like they're trying to implement something that gives you some kind of recourse once it happens to you, not stopping you from being able to make it, because I feel like they can't stop you from creating it, but they want to have some kind of deterrent to keep you from doing it, or repercussion for doing it.
Yeah. Now, if there's one thing that I would love to see legal deterrent to, it's the next story here. The NSA has finally admitted to spying on Americans by purchasing, with taxpayer money, I assume, sensitive data about Americans. The National Security Agency, or the NSA, has admitted to buying records from data brokers detailing which websites and apps Americans use. That's according to U.S. Senator Ron Wyden. He's a Democrat from Oregon. And man, Owen, what is your take?
I am owed an apology from so many people. For years, when I complained about this and they say, oh, they don't do that. This is worse than what I've claimed that they do. I know for a fact that they go into people's cell phones, they go into your emails, they're tapping things and they're listening, and they do it at all times whenever they want to. And most of that is done with malfeasance. There's guys the NSA creeping on ex-wives and old girlfriends and girls from high school. You think you creeping on Facebook as some old lover that you had 22 years ago, thinking about leaving your wife, doesn't happen in an NSA with more power that they have? You're out of your mind. This pisses me off the most because they're using taxpayer dollars to do it. So you're going out there and you're paying for the scam bots and the text messages saying you got a package from USPS and whoever wants to ring your bell. All those things that happen to you where they're trying to scam and fish your information, the NSA is out here paying for that with my tax dollars. They're paying for it. So not only are you facilitating scammers and giving them money, which is unlimited funds for you. I'm sure that it's not just like, oh, they spent $20,000. I'm sure they spend hundreds to millions of dollars on this, farming out information, creating more scammers. And so if you're going to go steal an NSA, go do it the old school way and just tap it like you want to. Don't use my money and double down on the ignorance of spying on Americans. But, nobody knows what they're talking about when they bring this kind of stuff up. And everything's conspiracy theory. This is something that's real. This is excessively worse to me because they're spending taxpayer money. I know they're spying on me. I have a phone. If you have a phone and you think nobody's listening to you, you're out of your mind. Your phone's listening to you. They're sending the data everywhere. But for them to go out there and pay for that information, perpetuating a problem in itself, it really pisses me off. I wish they just admitted just regular spying, because this enrages me 2 times as much. Are you excited about this? You like your data being breached?
Am I excited?
Yeah.
Outraged would define my feelings on this. The data brokers of the world are the bad guys. Let's not mix words here. They are not the good people that you would assume the government would be giving money to. Data brokers take your information, they sell it to the highest bidder, and that's how you get endless phone calls from other countries asking you to get a loan, asking you for your social security information. All of that comes from data brokers, and by funding data brokers, the government is essentially just forking money over your money to the very people that are abusing you using this system.
And then people wonder why I don't pay my taxes. I mean, I pay taxes, but I don't pay taxes. I live in the Donald Trump scam America loophole side of America. You don't have to pay for nothing if you got a good accountant, and my accountant is me, so I'm doing pretty good. It's just insane again that the thing that we would shun Facebook for doing when they were doing this kind of thing and selling information, and everybody was in uproar, just knowing that the government is doing it to you and they admit to it, just opens up the can of worms for everything else that they're accused of and what they have going on. We got all these UFO sightings lately, and the aliens are real. I don't care about none of that. Give me the tangible stuff. You're spending my taxpayer dollars to spy on me with scammers, and you're paying scammers. I already have to deal with everything else. On top of that, I have to deal with this too. Forget those aliens. This is the real news. What you got next?
Well, you mentioned taxes. Well, TurboTax has been banned by the FTC from advertising its free services, because if there's one thing we know about TurboTax, I've been a TurboTax user for a decade because I'm stuck with them. I've been using them for so long. They have all my information, and it's just easier for me. But nothing is free with TurboTax. Their free service is basically if you work at a McDonald's outside of high school, anything more than that, if you've bought Bitcoin, if you've traded stocks, if you've done anything with a 401k or done any freelance work, dude, you're going to be paying. You're going to be paying a lot. So having a free service from TurboTax is not honest practice. And I'm kind of glad the FTC stepped in on this one. What do you think?
So, I'm going to give you a little inside baseball for the people watching this. Again, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to the podcast, and leave a comment, star rate it. Give me encouragement to keep this thing going because, Ryan isn't annoying enough to push me. So I need you guys to push me. So if you're here already, just go ahead and do the things that are free for you to do. I shut down my Patreon. The least you could do is hit the subscribe button and throw me some shekels and love that way. Now that said that, let me tell you something. I didn't even read this article. Okay, I skipped this article. You know why, Ryan? Do you know why?
Why?
Because I already knew this was happening. They've been talking about this for the last 3 fucking years. Excuse me for cussing. Only time I'm going to cuss. Only time I'm going to cuss. But for 3 years, they've had this. They brought this up year after year. There's nothing free. I don't care if you work at McDonald's. I don't care if you're a dog walker that walked your grandmother's dog one time for $5. They're going to charge you $49.95 to file. There is nothing free at TurboTax Intuit. Zero zip zilch. And if you don't get out of this criminal mafia organization, I know they might be threatening your family, Ryan, but I'm here to support you, okay? I got the kids. I got the family. I will move you out of state if I have to. But get out of this gangster turmoil trash panda that is TurboTax. My goodness, nothing is free. And 3 years, every tax season, they bring this up and they've been trying to do something with them and still nothing is free. This is insane that they do this because they have so much marketing power and capital and they trick so many people coming into their system. And every time I tell you what, it's like you're going out on a date with a supermodel and you think you're going to get lucky on a freaking walk date. You didn't take her to dinner. You didn't take her to the movies. You didn't fly her on a trip to Dubai. You literally took her for a walk and you think you're going to score for free? Not here, said TurboTax. As soon as you get to that last button, it's like $49.99. And then if you want the deluxe, it goes up from there. And the $49.99 don't get you jack ship. Okay, so I told you that was one time I was going to cuss. So I fixed myself. Jack ship after that. Okay, so this enrages me about they are a mafia organization and they need to be stopped. This is the 3rd year I've read articles and heard about this. Everybody knows that they do it. Someone make it stop. Someone make it stop.
I agree. Now, the IRS has a solution. It has a free tax filing system now that for people in 13 states, it's a pilot program that they're rolling out this year, and it's supposed to compete with private companies. Now, I don't know how Republicans are going to let that happen. They hate it when the government competes with anything. I don't know if this is a good deal or not. I haven't used it yet, but it does make sense to me that, maybe the average Joe out there doesn't want to pay out of the wazoo for their taxes to get filed when everyone is mandatory has to do it.
If you have a young child or someone who doesn't have a high income, I would suggest to you that they get a Cash App account, have a Cash App card, and have a Cash App digital bank account. Cash App does your taxes for absolutely free, 100% free. They don't take a dollar, they don't take a dime, they don't take a nickel. They already got you in their ecosystem and you're making transactions through them and they're happy to help you. Easy, breezy, cover girl. Use them, suggest them to other people. I'm telling you it's free. When I say free, I said not a dollar, nickel, dime. So again, for your kids or someone who is not making a lot of money, making minimum wage, working part-time, I'd start with that if you wanted to do your taxes because it walks you through the system just like a TurboTax would. And it's not the government because, again, who trusts the government besides the fact that they're a pilot program? But that is my suggestion to you. Free advice, not financial or whatever crap that I got to disclose. But I just know that Cash App does it for free, and it's really simple to do. So I point a lot of the youth because, doctors out here helping the kids towards that angle so they can use that to do their taxes.
That sounds like an ad, but I promise you listening, it is not an ad. And I'm going to agree with Owen on this one. I have been a Cash App customer since the beginning. I even have their black debit card, which has these little boosts that you can apply on your phone right as you're going through like a drive-through or you're going up to the grocery store line. And those
Fast food
boosts are
restaurant.
crazy good.
Yes, yes. Oh, definitely not an ad. They didn't pay us. This is our first show. Nobody's paying us, so you can
Please
trust
pay
and believe
us.
that these are right. But right now this is not paid. But you can trust and believe this is our first episode. Nobody even knows we're out here talking. We're talking to each other basically, and the 3 people that are going to watch this eventually. But yeah, that's the way to go. I might even clip this for the people, so I don't have to send it to anybody anymore because I'm tired of having to explain it. What else we got on deck? What we got left?
Well, we need to talk about AI again. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah. No, it's okay. We're gonna be talking about a lot of AI. A lot of AI. This might be Iqmztech AI. I mean, we're gonna be talking about a lot of
AI. Well, in this case, AI spam already starting to ruin the internet. Tell me something I don't know. Spam has been ruining the internet since I was a child.
Yeah.
When the internet was first discovered. But scammers are using AI. They're spitting out web pages left and right, YouTube videos. They're doing everything they can to compete with real content creators like you and me. And they're doing a pretty good job. They're running a lot of bloggers that have been in the business for, 20 years out of business. Because if you can, spit out an article that seems original in 5 seconds, why would you pay a writer $30 to $100 an article to do the same?
And so, inside baseball, I showed you a couple of things that we're going to be talking about later in episodes and doing on the TikTok and Instagram. By the way, subscribe to those also. Like I said, they're free things you can do to help us out right now. Subscribe to those. But even if there's nothing up there, just click the button and come back later when stuff's going. But it's crazy because I showed you a program that I sent my podcast to. Now it listened to me for an hour and a half, and then it transcribed the podcast, and then it wrote a story and an article based on the information I was pulling out. And you read it, and it sounded really good. It sounded in my voice and in my tone because it's literally taking it from my voice and my tone. And I literally clicked one button, I dragged and dropped, and it spit out to articles, notes, outlines, details, header titles. Like it literally did, like you said, it's taking away other people's jobs. And if you could get that from the audio clip, over time, it'll start learning how you talk. So you could tell it to say, hey, the Eagles lost to the dinosaurs, and write an article about the game, and it'll spit something out and it'll sound legit. Now, these spammers are worse right now because they're not detail oriented enough. Their idea is just to get out things as quick as possible. So the AI isn't doing a really great job at most times, which is what makes it worse because you know that it's AI because there's faulty information, there's a lot of mistakes, but they're still ranking very highly in Google, and they're coming up at number 1, number 3, number 5 in the searches because they're so fast at getting stuff together and putting it out there. And if you're still on Twitter, you know that if you talk about something, there's a bot that comes up and says, here's a t-shirt that says that. And they don't even have a t-shirt. It's just a print on demand thing. And you're like, I love baked macaroni and cheese. And the t-shirt pops up, I love baked macaroni and cheese. You're like, what? And these bots just come up after things that you say so quickly and immediately because it's just scraping the data and AI is putting out the information. It's like, oh, someone makes a comment or something, a trending topic. Once it hits 100,000, take the keywords from the topic, put it on this image on a shirt, make this thing, click it, boom, it's done. Autopilot, spam.
Yeah, and AI writers are there. I'm a writer by trade. That's what I do in my day job. And AI writers are a bit scary because after GPT-4 came out, they're really quite good. And I'll absolutely admit they can spin an article that looks like it was written by a person. You can tell it what voice you want it in. You can tell it to act like it was written by Matthew McConaughey, and the article will look exactly like something that Matthew McConaughey would ramble off.
All right,
and
all right.
It's kind of scary, but it is the future, and we're going to have to adapt or we're going to have to fall. And man, I don't know where it's headed. I don't. And it's a little scary for me. I may have to start looking for a job soon, but we'll see.
It's heading to eventually it'll swing back to itself. Just for everybody who's scared of everything in the world in the future, the world is a horrible, terrible place. It is also a beautiful, amazing place. And everything that you think is wrong with the world has been wrong before and has come back to get fixed. So when you're sitting here and you're watching your favorite TV show and they're like, oh, they're going to be AI generated videos and movies, and they're going to be so realistic. Yeah, that's so far off. And our next story, I think that the next story is going to come out. I'm going to talk about that. Some of this technology is so far off to where it's just going to encapsulate and take over everything that sometimes sitting here and watching, again, not me, not us. This is a new show. Most of you guys are here already know me, and it's fine. Some people love me, some people hate me. I'm not for everyone, but that connection is always going to be real. If you find someone who your favorite author is your favorite author in the way that they write, and AI can do an amazing job faking them out, but it also can't create the things that are creatable, right? So when you watch it make a AI book about a cartoon or a children's book, that's easy. Find me somebody that can write me 7 novels like Dune. Find me the AI that's going to create that kind of masterful story. Once we get to that kind of creation, then I will be scared. But I still have to tell it what to do to even come close to creating that, right? So somebody still on the other end has to give it the information to make it. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like that swing should come back to reality, because at some point people are going to gravitate back to wanting something real, wanting more one-on-one connections and things like that. At least that's my hope. I have a little bit of faith in humanity. I know we're trash pandas and we're evil people, but sometimes I think this will all swing back at some point, just like everybody jumped on crypto and they were already late. So it's too late. Now nobody believes in crypto, but now crypto's back up again. So everybody's back on crypto. It is what it is. It's time what it is. What's our next story, Ryan? Oh, yes. Apple Vision Pro.
Oh, gosh, I was muted. Yes, Apple Vision Pro. It's a positive story for once. I'm happy that we're ending on a high note. It's finally starting to see the light of day. Robert Scoble's been talking about this thing for at least 10 years, saying it's coming next year. It's coming next year. Well, it's finally here, and it costs more than a brand new car in some cases. But hey, you know what? People are using it and they're starting to like it.
So leave this up on the side screen if you put me back up here, because it's Justine. Love her so much. When she opens things and she plays with Apple stuff, she's still like a kid. So it amuses me and it makes me happy. But at the same time, I could give a ham sandwich about this. Now I'm gonna start with why I don't care about this. I know you said happy thing, and I get that. Scoble, when he wore those glasses, I never bought a pair of glasses. I put them on. I tried them. That's cute. There's no way in the world this even matters, except for the fact that you're paying to be a tester. You're paying to be a guinea pig. And I get that technology. No, leave the video up there, because I just want people to see the video and she's doing fun stuff with it. It's an aside. They're not going to take it down.
You said the title, the name TurboTax earlier. So a TurboTax ad came up because, of course.
See, because they're listening.
They're listening. They're listening to you.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. The AI, they out there. Before AI, the NSA, they all listening. But it looks amazing. It looks incredible. The FaceTime feature is absolutely cartoonish and trash. I don't know how you do it. I don't know who's going to sit there with this on their head for so long. It's the same thing as the meta stuff. And yes, this is 1000% better. It is sexier, it's more finance, it's more refined, but it's still you just being a guinea pig for Apple to data collect and farm out. In 3 iterations, sure, this would probably be really, really great, and I would love to have it. I'm going to try one out. I'm going to put it on. I'm not spending my money on this. I'm not spending my time on this. I have way too many things better in real life to live with and deal with than looking at this CGI funky screen and touch and pinch and click these things. Like, I look at it and I'm like, why do regular people need it? They don't. That's why it's so expensive. That's why it's so limited. And it's just something that I am not happy about or excited about. I never have been one of those excited people about eyewear. I spent $10,000 to finally get glasses off my face and have LASIK surgery. Best thing I ever did. Last thing I want to do is put on a pair of snow goggles and sit in my living room and have my eyes sweat looking at a screen and watching a movie. I got a 75-inch TV. It's pretty big. I got a projector too. I want to take it up to 200, throw in the projector. Like, nothing about this other than the technology and the amazement and the features and the tech excite me. I don't want to use it. I don't care what anybody else uses it. I watch this video and I'm like, oh, that's good enough for me. Like I said, I might put it on one day, but I could give a ham sandwich about this. Are you excited? Are you happy that technology's out there in the world?
There's one use case I would like this for, and that is like I want to explore.
Show. This is a child friendly show. One case.
Oh.
Relax. No,
hey,
relax.
My wife's listening, so I'm
exactly.
Not
relax.
But no, I want to explore like tombs in ancient Egypt, or I want to see dinosaurs in their natural habitat walking around. I like things like that. I want to discover things and act like, you know, I'm there, because I hate flying, and I'll be darned if I'm going to fly halfway across the world to go look at some old rocks. But I would love to sit in my living room in the air conditioning and look at the pyramids and feel like I'm actually kind of there. I think that's a cool use of the technology. I think schools could definitely use it for stuff like that. But would I use this to FaceTime somebody? No, never.
And to your point, with regular VR headsets, there are programs. They use these in hospitals for people that are bedbound and things like that, just to give them the experience you're talking about, looking around in the forest, watching the pyramids, looking at the trees. Now, this is better than that. You know what I mean? It's going to be more immersive and feel better. But again, at the end of the day, I'm not there. And I don't know. 4K is really good. When I watch the Discovery Channel and I watch those dang penguins, I feel like I'm in Antarctica sitting in the warmth of my living room. I don't know how much more I need to be, quote unquote, immersed in it when I already know that it's not real. And maybe that's just me, but I fully understand what you're saying. I'm more impressed with like the Snapchat glasses. Something that's functional. You put them on, you got video going from your POV. They're just there. They come in sunglasses. They come in clear glasses. You can snap pictures with them. They have headphones to play music. You can wear them 24/7 when you're running around out and about. Like, those kind of things interested me because of the format. And this interests me because it's the first step to creating a smaller format. I want to be like Geordie LaForge. I want to be like the tech things where I'm clicking things on my side of my eye, you know, get Neon, Elon's neural link that's trash panda stuff. Just like click, like this helps us get to those places. And that is what excites me. That case looks really soft and sexy, though. It's overpriced, but my goodness, the aerodynamics of it look amazing. And like I said, IJ just be making everything seem like it's valuable and it has some kind of fun and sex appeal to it. But I have no interest in it whatsoever, and I haven't had any interest in most of this glassware. But you can go to the pyramids, Ryan. I'll allow it.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely not going to spend $200 for that case. Not only would my wife kill me, but I would probably be mad at myself for wasting that much money on something. Even it looks nice, but $200.
So $200 for a custom fitted case with cushioning to protect your $4,000 investment. That's the thing where it's like, once I've spent 4 G's on something, $200 is nothing. It just isn't. You know, I buy a Mac Studio, $4,000, $5,000. Well, I might as well go buy a nice monitor. What am I going to buy that for and then put a 15-inch 1080p monitor on it for? I might as well get a 5K monitor. You know what I mean? So once you spend that kind of money, I get it. The only thing I dislike the most about it is that it's white and it'll be dingy. I know that the thing is white and whatever, but like, give me like a hard gray, like a nice dark gray, so that it doesn't get dingy. Because that's the problem with that. You spend $200 or something, and in 2 weeks it just looks dingy. That's gross to me.
That is true. That is true. Well, that does it for our stories for today in our inaugural episode.
So yeah, we're done with the stories. Ryan, like what got you into computers, man? Like, what was your first experience where you're like, man, I love the internet. I love computing. What was it? Did you mute your mic again?
I did mute my mic. I'm terrible.
What is going on? See, guys, this is why we do a test show. This is why we had the test show. Because I'm over here just playing with stuff, waiting for an answer. And I'm like, he muted his mic. Let me
look.
Tell me.
I'm going to tell you, my dad was a huge nerd. All right. And we didn't have a whole lot of money, but we did have a computer, and we had a 2400 baud modem back in the early 90s. And we ran a bulletin board system out of our house called Smoke
Nice.
Signals BBS. And I grew up playing MUDs. I grew up playing Trade Wars, old games that that predated the internet. And I loved them so much that I decided that tech was where I needed to be. I needed to find more of these things that I love. And so I moved to Austin, which at the time had a huge tech sector, and just have been in love ever since. And I've been writing about technology and doing podcasts and editing videos for tech YouTubers like yourself. And it's my passion. I love it.
It is your passion. And if we make it to 10 episodes and don't quit or kill each other, I'm going to give people the inside scoop of how we met. It would blow your mind, because randomly it comes up and people, when I say it to people are like, what? Not how we met, but like the thing that I did that we met for. And people were like, well, that's crazy. And I'm like, right? It's a crazy situation, but it worked out for me because I made a very good friend and I met a very amazing person in like a war-torn, crazy place. Like sometimes you think, imagine going into a war zone where you don't speak the language and everything is on fire, and you walk in there and everybody's crazy. Everybody you walk by is just literally might be partially insane. And then you meet one person that's like a normal person, and you're like, oh, like they glow. Like the person glows because like, wait, why are you here? You shouldn't be here. And that's the situation when I met Ryan. I instantly knew, like, oh, you're a cool dude. Like you're cool. Like let me get your number. You're all right. You okay? Let me save you. So
To give a little spoiler, I describe how we met like a woman describes doing porn in her teens. It's like I was young and I needed the money.
and just so you know, it wasn't in porn that we met.
No.
Just to clarify, that was a metaphor and an example. I chose a war. He chose pillow talk, but it's it's the same. But yeah, it's you've been in tech for a really long time, and your interests run deep and your passion runs deep. And I just want to do the same thing that everybody else does, the thing that people want me to do all the time, and talk tech and have rants and have fun. And so I don't know if we're gonna spin up a Reddit or if we're just gonna. I already have a Discord set up. I just got to turn it back on. But one of the two, where people can like talk to us randomly when we have some free time, or talk to each other. We build a nice little community and just have fun with tech. The biggest thing with me about tech, when people always ask me like why I stop or quit, I think we might need to do a seasonal thing, like where wintertime we just shut it down for like the month or two that's dead. Because when it's dead and I have to talk about it, I get so bored and annoyed that I just don't even want to do it. I'm like, why am I even doing this? Because it's just, there's a period of time during the year where everything waits for CES and nobody's doing anything because they're just waiting for the beginning of the year to start. So we got to figure that lull out, how to handle that. Maybe we'll just come on here and play checkers and chess online for a half an hour. I think the show's going to run anywhere between minimum half an hour to an hour max. And yeah, we might even do some fun stuff like have a little call-in segment where people could call in and talk to us. We're going to do the show live every week, Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern. So that's our scheduled slot that we've got working out for each other, and make sure that we can keep that rolling consistently. But again, if you made it this far, thank you. Appreciate you. Follow Ryan on the internet, subscribe to the show and all the links that are in this bio, and just hang out. Like I closed out my Patreon because times are tough, and I felt bad because I wasn't creating enough content for the people that were supporting me. So I appreciate all those guys, and I know some of you guys are watching this now. I reached out to those people individually. I talked to a lot of you on the phone that did want to talk to me, had a great 5, 10, 15-minute conversation with a lot of guys and girls. And I just feel like now there's ways to make money on YouTube through subscription through YouTube, where it makes it easier for people to just give $2, $10, whatever they want, or just talking about products that we like, and do affiliate things like that, where it doesn't cost you anything, or might even save you money by using affiliates with us, so that Ryan and I can make a few shekels and buy an island and leave America at some point. But just thanks for being here. We appreciate you. Say goodbye to the people, Ryan.
Goodbye, everybody. It's great meeting you.
Yep. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.